Tweedy is a phenomenon. I was actually just saying to him before we came on, I first heard about Tweedy from an amazing clown called Arthur Pedler, who has worked with Buster Keaton and all kinds of amazing things. And Arthur told me one time we were talking that his favorite clown working at this point in the UK is Tweedy. And after that, I've become a huge fan of his, going to Gifford Circus whenever I can, watching him working. He's a really, in a way, I suppose you describe him as a kind of classic entertainer. He's a professional. He does it all the time in theaters and circuses. It doesn't matter where. He's always entertaining. He has a huge amount of experience and material behind him. He's even worked in sort of mainstream theater in Beckett, doing Estragon and Waiting for Godot and other things. He's won tons of awards. He's been on television. He has lots of celebrity fans, which maybe he'll tell us about later. He's also worked at the Ringling Barnum and Bailey Circus in the States, which I want to ask him about because that I'm sure was an amazing experience. He works in pantomime every year, so he is a mainstay of the British entertainment scene, and I'm very, very happy to have him on. So welcome to the virtual stage, Tweedy. Oh, it's not. Oh, there he is. Did you wait for a week?
Yeah, I just got my chair. I'm here. Hooray!
Hello. Hi.
Oh, the dog's now. It's okay. It's fine. Hi.
Don't worry. There's nobody behind you. It's just your ukuleles beautifully lined up at the back there, or banjos, or whatever they are.
Amazing. Various instruments. Yes.
Yeah. How's your day going? It's lovely to see you.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you and be appearing on this. As I said earlier, I feel like I already know you because I've been watching lots of your videos. But yeah, no, I'm good. I've been busy practicing my Lost Property show because I've got that on Saturday in Oxford and then lots during half term. So yeah,
very cool. So what's that show like now with have things changed with COVID? Is it different from how it used to be?
Yeah. I've been doing it a long time now, this show. But it's always evolving. But with COVID, because I had a few audience participation bits, so they're gone.
Of course.
And I made it a bit shorter because I think it was a little bit long. And there's kind of a lot of skill-based things in it, so I've got to do lots of practicing to remember how to do them.
I mean, it's
harder as well, being older. It's like falling over is not as easy nowadays. But there we are.
Right. You do fall over a lot in that show. I mean, you can go onto YouTube and see the different parts of it. And just in the first 10 minutes, I think you fall over probably like 50 times. I don't think that's an exaggeration.
Yeah, it might be close, yes. If I'm not falling, something else will be. Generally.
Yeah. Well, the briefcase, which falls off the table about 10 times.
Yeah.
In all these different ways. I was actually kind of wishing that I'd done my clown reaction video for that one because, well, there was a lot to talk about in the other one as well. But there was so much in this first 10 minutes of this Lost Property show worthy of comment and note. Like just the way that the rhythm of the briefcase falling off the table evolves, because it sort of falls once and you kind of see it fall, and then you try again and you try again and you try again, and then it kind of falls off it starts to fall off in different ways. And I can't exactly remember what all those ways are now, but there's a beautiful kind of rhythmic build to that, which is almost perfect. And I was wondering if that's something that you have now a feeling for and you can kind of improvise it and get it right, or is it very specific, like it has to fall off in exactly the right way each time?
The way I work very much on instinct. I don't overthink it. So yeah, I just kind of go out there and just get the feel of it.
Yeah.
It's not massive.
It's amazing. But then you watch it and you could, I feel like you could break it down and say why and how it's working and why it's funny.
Yeah.
But it's sort of internalized for you. You've just got that natural feel, that connection with the audience, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, it's quite funny because I never really did much kind of workshops or things like that. And then 2005 was like my second year at Giffords, and Angela De Castro was directing. So she had us do a week-long workshop. And as I say, I've not really done many workshops, and I don't kind of overthink of why I'm doing. So it was really kind of bizarre, because then I was coming at it from a different angle and kind of going, oh, that's why I do that. You know, I was kind of finding out the reason why I was doing things, but I never really question it, because if it works, I don't want to overanalyze it in case it doesn't work anymore.
I think that's a really amazing, piece of advice, right? Particularly if what you're doing, it works, why change it?
Yeah.
So Angela was trying to get you to, was the way she worked a little bit different, and she was a bit more breaking it down into, has to do this and then you have to do this?
No, I think she just wanted to do a workshop with the whole cast to kind of, you know, because as you know, clown workshops helps greatly with performing in any aspect. You know, even if the performer doesn't intend to be a clown workshop helps open them up and kind of bring that to the show. So that's why it wasn't anything kind of personally for me that she was doing it. It's just I was part of the cast and we were all doing it.
And with Giffords, you've worked with a number of really amazing directors over the years. I mean, apart from De Castro.
Yes, it's been Cal McChrystal for the last 10, who's, you know, sort of one of the greatest physical comedy directors there is, I think. The current
phenomenal
moment. Yeah, so I mean, it's incredibly lucky to have him to work with.
Yeah. Tweedy, you mentioned sort of, you know, your training, or, you know, the fact you hadn't taken a lot of workshops in the past. And that leads me sort of into the first question that I very often ask people, which I'm hoping you'll tell us about, which is kind of how you got into clowning in the first place. You know, what point did you realize, oh, I'm a clown, this is me, and this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life?
It was a bit of a moment like that. It did feel like an epiphany. I mean, my mum says that I talked about being a clown before the moment I kind of came to that conclusion. And I can't really remember how old I was. I think I was about 16, and I was planning on going to art school to study animation because I kind of loved cartoons. And particularly, I was looking to do character development because I was fascinated with the idea of creating this comic character that was funny and lovable and all that sort of thing. And then I just kind of had this realization that now cartoon animation is quite dull, especially then. This is pre kind of computer animation. So you're literally sat there just drawing the whole time. And I haven't really got much patience.
But you were good at drawing, were you?
Yeah. So then I kind of thought, I want to be the cartoon, and clowning was the closest thing to kind of being a real life cartoon. And at that moment, it was kind of like everything made sense of kind of my natural character and just how I am anyway. It was just, it wasn't a case of that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a clown. It kind of more felt like that's what I am. I just need to learn how to kind of channel it, really. So it was a great moment, and it was very bizarre because I made the announcement around the kitchen table of, I'm going to be a clown, which went down really well, you know. Do a real job, you get a trade. But after dinner, we'd finished dinner, so we kind of sat there in silence. I put the telly on, and this series came on called Clowning Around.
Oh, wow.
Right after we'd had this conversation. And then like a few minutes into this this kids' TV program, the kids sat around the table, makes this announcement, I'm going to be a clown. We just,
no way.
Well, this is really weird. And it was a great series. It's actually on YouTube. It's called Clowning Around. It's an Australian kids' TV show. So it was like the 90s when it was on the BBC. And I'd watch it every week to see how his kid was getting on and copy a lot of what he was doing in his training.
Yeah.
And at the end, he ends up going from Australia to Paris, and I don't know what circus. It's actually in a circus building, the kind of the finale when he's in a circus. So yeah, that was a really bizarre coincidence, but it really kind of helped spur me on as well, having this kind of weekly clown.
Really, that's I mean, what a sign.
Yes.
From the clown gods.
Yeah, it was great. And I mean, prior to that, growing up, after tea, Laurel and Hardy would be on BBC Two, and then on Saturdays around my grandma's, it would be movies like Norman Wisdom and the Marx Brothers and George Formby and people like that. So that's kind of who I grew up on, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. It wasn't really circus clowning, wasn't what I intended doing at all to start with. And then in 93, so this was not long after I kind of went, right, I want to do clowning. Our school took us to the Edinburgh Festival because I'm from Aberdeen, so it's not that far. So we had the school trip for the weekend, and the school decided what shows we saw. But in that weekend, I saw Circus Arcade or Circus Oz in Avner.
Wow.
I sat there watching Avner going, yeah, that's what I want to do. And that was kind of when I wanted to be a clown. It wasn't, as I say, it wasn't the circus I was drawn to. It was Avner and Avner's style. It was like being in a theatre doing a one-man show that I was really kind of, that's what I want to do. So yeah.
Brian's from Aberdeen, apparently. Didn't know that.
Aberdeen,
how about
yes,
that? He's born a few years before you, I think.
Yeah.
So, you know, so you talked about Avner and Circus Archaeos and Circus Oz and seeing all these, but then you managed. It sounds like you managed to kind of break into a professional working context without sort of doing all these workshops and training. Now, a lot of people see that as the route, you know, that I have to do this workshop and go to this school. But clearly that's not true. Like, how did you learn? How did you get it into you, the ability to do this work?
I learned the old-fashioned way. Because, you know, all my heroes, like I said, sort of Buster Keaton and Laurel and Hardy and Norman Wisdom, you know, there was no workshops for them to go to. Although, like George Burns has kind of got this quote of, there's no place where a performer can go to be lousy anymore, because obviously you've got to go somewhere and be a bit rubbish,
right?
Because you're with our comedy to learn. So I was doing youth theatre at that time when I was kind of decided I wanted to be a clown, and I left school and I didn't really know what I was going to do, and I got offered pantomime off the back of youth theatre. So my first job was pantomime. And I got a good review in the stage from that. Excuse me. And then I was actually going to go do training, because what I did was I went to Butlins as a redcoat, and I was saving up when I was at Butlins to do a course at full time, which was the Bristol School, which is now Circa Media. It was a 10-week course with Bim Mason. Yeah. So I was Butlins saving up, and then sort of near the end of the Butlins season, you get the stage every week, because that's what you did back then. You buy the stage newspaper, and there's an announcement: full time's gone bust. It's folded. So well, what do I do now? But Butlins was great because we'd have a redcoat cabaret every week, and I'd just go on and do any old rubbish, just trying stuff out. I mean, the entertainment manager would say, look, just go on and juggle. I'm like, no, I've got to try stuff out. So I was very lucky. And like I said, George Burns said, there's no place to be lousy. I was lousy every week for weeks. It was great. So at that point, I was kind of like, well, what do I do now? And this is pre-internet, so it was very difficult to kind of, just like now you Google how to be a clown and you get bombarded with stuff. I had a few dusty old clown books, and that was it. So I managed to find a few addresses, not email addresses, not actual addresses, of kind of circuses and clowns. And I made this little questionnaire, this personal research about clowns, and sent loads out. Got 2 back out of about 50 that I sent out. One was from a clown in Canada from some show called Cirque du Soleil, which I didn't know what it was. That's nice, a clown in Canada, look at that. And the other one was Martin Burton, who owns Gifford Circus and was Zippo the Clown at that time. He was still clowning. And at the bottom of his questionnaire, he said the best way to learn clowning is by doing it. You can join my circus as a publicity clown, learn from all the kind of other clowns. Publicity clown involved kind of doing school shows, wandering down the streets, handing out flyers, promotional stuff.
Yeah.
And initially I wasn't going to do it because Butlins had kind of offered me to do my own shows there. But then they messed me about, so I phoned him up and he said, yeah, come down. So I went down to Zippo's, and I was meant to work like a week or 2 weeks in advance of the circus arriving. So I wasn't actually meant to be traveling with the circus, but my first week, they said, you'll be with the circus the first week. But that first week, Martin Burton Zippo, he was stuck in traffic, so there was nobody to go in the ring. So of course I was just, I'll do it. So they kind of went, all right, they gave me a driving lesson because one of the numbers was a tiny clown car, which was just recently went up on eBay. I was tempted to buy it.
Wow.
But it went for like $2,000 or something. I don't think it's worth that. I didn't buy it. But so I learned that, and then he said, okay, that's fine. I said, no, I know the other routine. It was a ghost gag, but Jurassic Park had just come out, so it was all these like dinosaurs instead of ghosts.
So was this a routine that you'd created, or was it one of his that you'd watched?
No, this is a routine that Mark Zippo and his partner, the Whiteface, he had the traditional partner, Whiteface clown, were doing, and I spent a week kind of watching it. So I know the routine, I'll do it. So I did it, and then the second show, Martin had made it back, and he watched, and he said, all right, you can be my understudy from now on. And I stayed on the show that year, doing sort of about half the shows. Like during the week, he usually wouldn't bother doing the shows. He'd do the weekends, and then it was quite difficult though, because he'd suddenly get a call 5 minutes before the show. Oh, you're on, and you'd suddenly have to put all the slap on and get into that mindset. And so I was there for 8 years, and I learned a lot. And I was very lucky as well because Johnny Hutch came and helped us a lot. I don't know if you know of Johnny Hutch.
Yeah.
So Johnny Hutch, for those who don't know, he's a little comic acrobat, and he kind of took over on the Benny Hill show from Jackie Wright, who was a little guy who used to slap his head because he passed away. So Johnny took over from him in later years. And then he started doing directing. He directed Robert Downey Jr. in Chaplin. He directed all the kind of slapstick scenes in that. He told a funny story because they were trying to work out what routine to do for Charlie, like Charlie's stage routine, the drunk routine, where he kind of falls out the box.
I love that scene. Yeah.
Nobody's seen it. We don't know what he did. It's not written down. And Johnny Hutch was like, I've seen it. I know it. Like, what? He's like, yeah, I can remember it. Because he was musical, and that was what's great. He used to always say, that's your learning. He said, I'd be doing different shows every week, working different acts. And he'd say, I'd just stand in the wings every week, watching a different act, learning. And that's why we're so lucky now, because we have YouTube and we can just watch everything, and so many fantastic clowns and things like that. And the other quote I loved that he said was, the most original person is the person with the longest memory. Because he used to come out with bits of business and acts and things for us to do that he remembered, from years ago in the music. Nobody else knew them.
So it's like recycling but
yeah,
but from so far back that people don't remember it, so it feels like it's original.
yeah. But I mean, that's tricky now because, as I say, everything's online. So people go, "Oh yeah, I saw that clip of that guy doing that in 1930." But back then, it was relevant and very funny, I thought.
There's something very interesting actually about this idea of recreating old acts. You know, I don't know if you saw. Did you see James Thierry's film about Foot It and Chocolat?
Yes, very good.
If anyone hasn't seen that, it's really the movie is called Chocolat, I think.
Yeah, I mean, anything James Thierry does is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
because he's the grandson or great grandson of Chaplin, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one. I think it might just be. No, it must be great grandson.
Yeah.
Mind you, Charlie did have some kids quite late on, didn't
No,
he?
I think his mother. I think his mother is Charlie Chaplin's daughter.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he is his grandson. Yeah,
Grandson, yeah, and he's a beautiful. Oh my goodness, amazing performer. But
yeah,
you know, in that movie, he and I can't remember the name of the actor who plays Chocolat. It's not
yeah,
coming to me, but somebody will look it up and put it into the chat.
yeah,
You know, what they're doing is trying to reconstruct these acts from the 19th century that were done in the circuses of Paris and France, where Foot It and Chocolat were sort of creating these beautiful two-hander clown pieces with a sort of high status and low status, but kind of really messing with the idea of status and sort of changing it around. But there's almost no footage of them. There's about 1 minute of very kind of
yeah,
shaky kind of footage of the original Foot It and Chocolat from 1910 or something. And so what these actors were trying to do is imagine what those guys were doing back then in this movie, and it's really interesting sort of historical reconstruction. So I mean that's fascinating. So when you were at Zippo, you've got the benefit of this guy's memory and his
yeah,
access to this kind of history of clowning.
yeah, and also just all the other clowns that kind of came and went. You know, like Johnny said, just watching and lots of different comedy acts. It just you absorb it so much.
Yeah, fascinating. I sort of wonder whether watching it on YouTube is the same. You know, there's something about absorbing those acts from the wings
Yeah,
night after night, seeing the same thing night after night, and really absorbing it into your bones. That feels different from, oh, I can watch 10 different acts on YouTube in half an hour.
yes.
I
But
wonder.
it's also, you know, you think I joined circus in '94, and the amount of shows that I've done since then, you know, even in one circus season, that's hundreds of shows that you're constantly
Hundreds and
doing,
hundreds.
and you're
Yeah.
constantly kind of, you know, changing a little subtle movement and going, yeah, no, that's funnier if I turn like this or if I move like this. So
Yeah.
just having that kind of constant chance to perform, that's you know, that's your schooling, as Johnny would say.
Yeah. And the audience, so this space to fail, this idea of having this space to fail is really interesting. So for you, that was the Redcoats, the Butlins, rather. Was it Butlins, you said?
It was Butlins, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's constant. I mean, when you're just performing so many shows, every show is a chance to fail. It's just whether you're
Yeah.
willing to take the risk or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks. John has said it's Omar Sy, the actor of
Oh
Chocolat.
yes,
Yeah.
come on,
Amazing.
hey,
Amazing actor. And he also tried to get into serious acting at some point. He, I think, did Othello, at least in the movie. He sort of tries to break out of that comedy thing
yeah,
and get serious, which I don't think you were probably trying to do that when you went played Estragon. But I'm interested in that that was one of my questions, actually, that kind of like transfer of clowning into a text-based piece, a play by Samuel Beckett, you know, this really iconic play. What was that like doing that?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, Godot is I love the play, and I was fortunate enough to see the Bill Irwin Nathan Lane version.
Yeah.
I mean, this is another bit. Is I managed to get a bit of one-to-one with Bill Irwin,
Wow.
which was obviously another amazing opportunity. So there's a group called Clowns International in England. It's a clown club, and they have a church service every year. It just happened the other day, but it was put online because of COVID. So every year in February, there's a clowns church in Dalston where all the clowns go to church in the full kind of motley slap, and it's to commemorate,
right?
Yeah, Grimaldi, yeah. So I went to one of them. This was 2006. It was, and we're in the hall bit getting ready before you go in, and in walks Bill Irwin. My jaw about hit the floor, and there was only me and I think two others who actually knew who he was. So I beeline to Bill Irwin straight away.
Yeah.
Got chatting, and he was doing the play Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf at the time, which he won a Tony Award for, but he'd been doing it for a long time at that point in Broadway, and then he'd moved to the West End. And because he was a bit bored of it, and he didn't know anyone in London, so when I kind of said, look, can we hang out? Can I kind of learn a bit off you? Luckily I had a DVD at the time because it was kind of YouTube was about, but it wasn't that great. And I gave him a DVD of my work just to kind of go, look, I am in the business. I'm not just some crazy person. And he phoned me up and said, yeah, come up. So where he was staying, there was a sort of acrobatic sort of yoga type studio with the mirrors, and we just kind of hang out and put baggy pants on and dance and do some hat moves. And that was a great time for me and a great kind of learning experience.
Yeah, he's an incredible mover. I mean, he's a dancer, just phenomenal.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to that, so then I saw him when I was in America with Ringling with Nathan Lane and Godot. And I'd seen Godot before, but when I saw them doing it, I was just like, this is great. I love this. And I'm intrigued by clown on every level, and I would still like to kind of look into dark clown a bit more. Although, it is clowning Godot, but it is acting at the same time. But I felt very close to the character of Estragon. I felt,
Why? What was it about the character?
So after seeing it, I thought, I'd like to do that. And I was very fortunate in the theatre I do pantomime at, the Everyman, the chief exec there kind of had the sort of vision to say, yes, I can imagine you doing this, because lots of people say, why are you putting Tweedy, a clown, in this acting Beckett thing, and he said, well, they are clowns, that was kind of the point, was that the clowns. So that was that, waiting for Godot.
What was it about the character that you connected with in Estragon?
The kind of the downtroddenness, and it was good to kind of do something that's very different from what I normally do. The sort of excited, happy to then be really kind of tired and just weary, because I was always drawn to kind of hobo tramp clowns, but I never really did it. And then it gets to a point where like I'm so well known, if I suddenly did a different character, people would be like, "What's he doing?" But no, that's not Tweedy. So I was able to kind of explore that more, and I just really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Did people come? What were people's reactions? Were they like, oh, it's Tweedy, we can see Tweedy there, or was it like you were stepping into a different kind of clown or a different kind of reality?
It wasn't. I don't. There might have been little Tweedy mannerisms because that's just inherent. But yeah, no, I think I did manage to lose myself in the role. Yeah.
Do you ever feel it's really interesting because a question came up in the Facebook group the other day. I think it was Lee, maybe, who's an old student of mine, and he said he was asking people about whether they have more than one clown role, clown persona, and what people's view of that was. And it's a question that comes up, you know, and different people answered different things. I think a lot of people had actually in the clown world have multiple sort of personas or characters that they bring out. But it seems to me you're an interesting example where, I mean, you certainly have different modes, but really it's always Tweedy. You know, it's always the same energy, the same beautiful kind of thing that people love. And so why not, you know, why change that?
Yeah, no, I had this conversation with DeCastro when we first worked together, because she's very much one of these people that has multiple characters. But for me, my clown is so much just me. You know what I mean? It's so much part of me. If I'm at a party, if I get a bit excited with friends, it's the line is very clear. Yeah. So that's why even if I kind of created another character, it would very much still have Tweedy there, because it's kind of who I am, and my clown is so close to the surface at all times.
Yeah. Well, and you said earlier that you're fascinated about clown on many different levels, and I wonder if, I'm not sure what the question is, but what is it about clown that fascinates you at so many different levels, like in your life?
I think it's just because I love clowning, whatever it is and wherever it is, to then explore, you know, the darker side or the different sort of emotions. Because, like you say, it could be the same character, but that character is put in a situation where they're terrified, or they're put in a situation, you know, any situation. But because generally it's all light-hearted situations, so it could just, like I say, it could just be Tweedy put in different things. So I just like exploring and trying new things all the time. I'm quite unfocused in that way, and I'll start practicing something and then get distracted and practice something else. Which, luckily for clowning, it works well, because you can loads of musical instruments back there. I can play I can play like one or two, maybe 3 tunes on each of them, which is perfect for the clown, because you only need to learn 1 or 2. So it works quite well. So yeah, I just love clowning, and I just love to explore everything about it, I guess.
And you mentioned that it kind of leaks into your life, or like there's this kind of thin line between.
Yeah, there's a lot of time when I'm just genuinely trying to do DIY and think, not now. This would be hilarious. You know, if it was meant to be, you know, people were watching, or it was a show, but they're not. So yeah, but that's the way I like to live, in the clown state, or close to it.
And do you feel like that's something that has sort of affected your life in a positive way, like as a human being, you know, that access to clown?
Yeah, I think so, because, you know, you kind of always have that, and my kind of clown especially is you always have that sort of positive attitude, and, you know, if you fall over, you get up again. So you don't get down, you don't get kind of worried and stressed about stuff, because you just kind of look for something else, and it's a bit like, you know, sort of living in the moment as well, which is, you know, sort of Eastern philosophy. I can't say that.
But it's interesting, you were mentioning to me before we came on air, that you added this element to the Lost and Found show with a kind of a camera, like a security CCTV camera, kind of looking down on you. And
yeah, so the latest kind of update on my Lost and Found show, because it's basically a clown working in a lost property office. Having seen that horrible poster that the government put up of a picture of a ballerina and them going, this person's going to be an IT something, she just doesn't know it yet. So I've kind of turned the start setup of the show that the government is putting me on a retraining scheme.
I love it.
So that just gives me sort of the reason why I'm working in a lot of property office. And I was very lucky because one evening I was practicing, Simon McBurney popped in because he lives nearby. And he said,
just only Simon McBurney.
Yeah.
He's about the most amazing physical theatre director.
Yes, how lucky am I? A bit of complicity in there.
Yeah.
And he said, why don't you have like a CCTV camera there so that you've always got something to react to, and you've got that hierarchy there, that high stakes thing, even though it's not a person or a character, we kind of know that somebody's there. And that was a great tool, because suddenly you've got something else to react to all the time when you get carried away playing with something, and it's like, oh no. So yeah.
Did you build that in a lot then into the physicality, and so you're kind of reminding the audience that it's there as you?
Yeah. So I kind of say at the start that this has been this a training session, and it's been filmed and assessed while I'm doing it. So yeah, it kind of it adds a bit more jeopardy as well. It's such a simple device, and adds lots of layers. I mean, that's why you have somebody as brilliant as Simon McBurney popping in. They're going to come out with some genius idea.
Well, it is genius, but it's also fits totally with the context of clowning, that there's this play with hierarchy and status. Right? This feeling that there's somebody in charge, and that whether they appear or not, the clown is kind of living on borrowed time.
Yeah. At any moment, they're going to go, stop it. Oh.
Yeah. And I always feel that with your work, like whether it's set up in that way or not, it's like you're exploiting this moment to come out and just do this thing that you weren't really supposed to do. And it's not really part of the show.
Yeah.
And then it can go on for like 20 minutes.
Stop it. Please don't. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time in Gifford Circus, it'll end up being that I'm not actually meant to be in the show. Yeah. I mean, we've kind of used that tool so many times, but it's like Cal said, it works so well. Like there was one year we decided, because the circus travels with a restaurant called Circus Sauce. So at the end of the show, you can go and have this 4-course set menu meal, which is fantastic. It kind of gets reviewed in restaurant magazines, things like that. So we decided to have that. Tweedy's not in the show this year. He's been sacked. He's working in the kitchen. So then I into the show in the full chef's outfit and cause trouble. So yeah, it's all about kind of not meant to be there, things like that, in the wrong place at the wrong time. But yeah, it just gives you a lot of tools.
Do you always do the iron, walking the iron? Is that?
Yeah, I kind of have to now.
Yeah.
If I don't have it, people are like, "Where's Keith? Where's the iron?" So, okay, get the iron. So yeah, generally, what happened back in 2008, because I always go out before the show and just kind of walk around and high five, and it's just to get a connection with the people before we start. I mean, I used to do it. I've always done it, and the reason I did it kind of initially was so that people got to know you and the character before you started the show. Because I mean, one of my pet hates with circuses is when the clowns are out front, maybe selling spinning plates, but they're not in character. They're in their full kind of clown thing, and they're looking miserable, and then a minute later they'll come running out through the carriage, expecting everyone to suddenly even have their energy when they've just sort of bought this merchandise off them and they were miserable or horrible to them. So I always go out before not at the moment because of COVID, I'm not allowed to, but I'll go out before the show and kind of high five people, get to know them. They get to know the characters. So then as soon as I come out, they'll be like, oh, that's the guy that we met earlier. And, for the kids, that's kind of a big deal. It's, oh, he high-fived me, at the end of the show, if they've kind of
totally
really kind of warmed to you, then it's exciting. So I can't remember why I'm telling you this, but there we
Well, it was just that I asked you about the iron.
Oh, yes. Okay, so 2008, I was going out to do that. I'm distracted. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
And I spotted there's an old iron in the bin, from the wardrobe department. I thought, oh, that's a shame, throwing an iron out. So I just dragged it behind me as I went round, and it got such a kind of good reaction. It's just a surreal image, I suppose, of this guy dragging an iron around. And then I'll kind of undercut it because people will go, I'll go, come on here, boy, things like that. And people will go, well, that's a nice dog. It's like, it's not a dog, it's an iron. All of a sudden, I'm turning it on them, going, what are you talking about, silly people? So yeah, it's just a fun little thing to have. And now it's my sidekick.
Yeah, it is. That's right. It's your clown partner.
Yeah.
And people associate it with you, so it's sort of a trademark.
Yeah. Yeah, if I arrive at a sort of one-off gig and I don't have the iron, people are like, what? Where's the iron?
Okay, now.
It's not like I'm doing with it either. So
I suppose you could just borrow somebody's iron. There's lots of irons around. Or does it have to be your iron?
Well, what happens is every now and again they regenerate like Doctor Who. They don't travel through space and time. It's just because kids will notice if it's a different iron. If it's a different color, a different make, I go, oh, it's not Keith. I go, he's just regenerated. So that's my story.
Candia wants to know how many Keiths you had over the years. Maybe you shouldn't ask you that.
I've lost count. I mean, I've got two kind of stunt Keiths as well now. I've got a remote control one, and I've got a foam rubber one that I can kind of throw at people, and they go, oh no! So yes, he's evolving.
Yeah, everything's evolving. This is the cool thing. It's so interesting, Tweedy, because on one level, I look at your work, you've got this kind of consistency in the character, which is so strong, and so that's what people love. But there's also this sense of evolution, like the fact that you're taking this Lost and Found show and you're kind of updating it, making it relevant and appropriate to the times that we live in.
Well, that's another interesting thing that I find interesting with clown as well is, people might say, oh, well, your character has changed. And it's like, well, that's because I've changed. And it's interesting to see. I love to see some old clowns that are still really good. And so I'm interested in that process as well. You know what I mean? Sort of aging and then being this sort of really slow clown, being this old Tweedy, because of course it changed because I'm changing. But I do find that very interesting.
Do you have a sort of an image of what you might be like as an old clown?
I don't know. I quite like the kind of the comedy you can get out of being very slow. I did this show Sherlock Tweedy a few years ago, which was I was putting on Sherlock Holmes, but the company hadn't turned up apart from one other guy, and there's a moment in that where, because we're playing all the different characters because the actors hadn't turned up, and there's one where I'm the maid, and it was taken from Victoria Wood. She has this waiter sketch where she just goes really slow and keeps coming back and forth. So I kind of based it on that, and that was really fun and interesting, and got really big laughs. I think because I'm so manic most of the time, so suddenly, and and it was kind of an insisting gag. I mean, I love a good insisting gag where it gets a laugh, and then it gets to that point where people are like, is he still doing this? Really? He's still going to do that? At that point, and then you have to, you got to be brave. You got to hold. It's gonna flop. But then you hold it, and then it comes back up, and then it gets an even bigger laugh because he's still doing it. Oh my god, I can't believe he's still doing it. So and that worked really well. That was a lot of fun. I mean, there was a few kids in some of the shows who were just getting really frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, up, just power up. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So I think playing with that slowness will be quite fun as you get older.
Yeah, for sure. That's really interesting, this idea of the insisting gag. It sounds like you're able to really push sometimes the clown into more absurd kind of space where there's not so much quick laughs all the time, and maybe a little bit more uncertainty and like intrigue, like what's he doing now? You know, where's he going with this?
I love kind of playing with people's emotions. No, but I love kind of taking people one way and then changing the direction. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Have you ever had where you've tried something like that and it just has flopped totally? I mean, more recently than when you were at Butlins.
I'm trying to think.
It's always a great big success.
Really think offhand, but talking of flopping, like my biggest flop was quite early on. I thought, oh, I'll try clowning in stand-up clubs, you know.
Wow.
So I'll go to an open mic after the circus, and I'll give it a go. So I went down to this open mic night, and I had this introduction of, and now we've got a clown from the circus who thinks he's funny. He's
Oh no!
So I was kind of dead before I got on, and then got like heckled the whole time. People in the front kind of enjoyed it because they were watching it. Yeah. But I found out afterwards. I think it was Steve Rawlings I was talking to, and I can't remember who it was, but they were saying, "You did what?" It was up the creek, and it was notorious for hecklers, and there's like people on the circus who just wouldn't go there because Malcolm Hardy, the compere, would like rip them to bits before they even got to the stage. And it's like, you tried out up the creek? It was like, oh, okay. Next time, do some research.
Right. Before you go to a place, find out if it's going to
be a
friendly audience.
If you're going to tag before you even get it on there. But it's, you know, it's all learning experience.
Yeah. So I guess it's just a very different environment, isn't it? It's a very different sort of comedy. There aren't many people doing physical comedy in stand-up clubs.
Well, I've had an interesting conversation with Sam, Tape Face, boy with tape on his face. You know, because obviously he started off doing stand-up clubs with his act.
Yeah.
And I mean, the only reason he taped his mouth up is because he said he wanted to do a silent act, but he couldn't help himself. He couldn't not talk. But what that does is, because if you go on stage and you start doing physical stuff in a stand-up club, people are waiting for you to say something, even though you're doing loads of stuff. The back of the head, I don't know why he's going to talk any minute. But by putting the tape on his face, that took that away.
Yeah.
The instant, as soon as he came out, they knew, well, he can't talk. He's not going to talk. So it changed the focus, and I think it's such a clever kind of tool, because that's what you kind of have to do. You have to kind of change people's way of thinking of, oh, this guy isn't going to tell jokes.
Yeah.
And that is such a simple way of doing it.
Yeah, it's amazing that he's huge now. He's got a very big following.
Yeah, well, it's because he did America's Got Talent, and
yeah, right,
did very well. he's a residency in Vegas. But then strangely, and I find this quite bizarre, he then started franchising himself.
Oh, wow.
Which I always find strange with clowns. And I kind of see Cakeface as a clown. Like Grandmother Clown, who was at Big Apple Circus for a long time.
Yeah.
He did that as well. And I just kind of find it funny. I can never imagine going, all right, you can play Tweedy. You go on Gifford Circus next year and you be Tweedy and
yeah,
be fine. You know, but I suppose that's more to do with it being more separate, you know, sort of being, this is my clown character is very different from who I am.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big difference, but I still find it quite strange. And I did kind of have a look at comments and stuff, and there was quite a lot of people kind of not happy that they'd gone to see Cakeface and it wasn't him, because then it's a bit like, well, you know, having a cover band instead.
I suppose Slava kind of did that with the Snow Show.
Yeah, he does that quite a bit as well. But I don't think it's as noticeable with Slava. But I don't know.
Maybe it's different because he's like working with them very intimately to kind of.
That's what I think. I think because he probably trains them so vigorously. I mean, that's kind of why I've had issue with Cirque du Soleil as well, because you know, if you go to a creation of a show, I mean, it depends on your contract, but then they go, right, okay, we're going to give someone else your clown character now that you've gone. You know, we'll have an actor play your role. And as a clown, I find that very strange.
And nobody could ever be you. You know, really, nobody could be Tweedy. But I guess I mean that in a general sense as well. Like, anybody's clown is unique to them. So how can anybody else be that?
That's why I find it kind of confusing to have someone else playing your character. Because then you get into, well, what's the difference between acting and clowning, don't you? Because, but for me, clowning is you, it is your character. You're not acting.
Yeah.
But that.
I think it would be very funny, coming back to that topic of you doing different kinds of clown. It would be very funny to see you try and do a tramp clown. I think it maybe for one of the shows, Gifford's, you know, the storyline could be that they've decided to turn you into a tramp clown. you come out, but it's clearly not. It's clearly you inside that tramp clown, and you're trying to do this sort of Emmett Kelly kind of like straight face, kind of gruff gags, you know, with slow stuff. And then, but Tweedy keeps kind of bursting out and tripping over and getting distracted. So you fail at being a clown, but being a different kind of clown.
Yes, feeling it clowning. Yeah, I mean, that can be very funny as well. Well, Chaplin did it a bit, didn't he, in the circus, where the clowns were teaching him the routines and messing it up. Yeah, so I mean, that could be very funny.
Yeah, totally. Oh gosh, there's so much we could talk about, and we're coming to the end of the hour. But I wanted to ask you, Tweedy, that a question that's been intriguing me, because you say on your website that you've got these sort of fans who are celebrities, and I just want to know who these people are. Who are your, other than Simon McBurney, who I guess is not a celebrity for most people, but he is, although he is for me, and anybody in the theatre world, I think, would recognise him. But, who are these? Who are your biggest celebrity fans, if you don't mind me asking?
Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen.
Oh, very good.
No, I'm joking. He hates me. No, he doesn't. He does like me. Well, there's Aid Edmondson, who was kind of huge for me, and Jennifer Saunders. The regular kind of message stuff. And there's Helena Bonham Carter, but she's into clowns anyway. She's narrating the new Slava documentary that's coming out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and she did. There's an animated version of what's his name's clown. the illustrator, Quentin Blake. Yeah, she narrated that. So yeah, she's into. She did a course at Gollier as well. So she's kind of genuinely interested in clowns as well.
Yeah.
I can't think offhand because I'm not really into celebrities unless I'm fans of them. There's Lee Mack and Rob Brydon.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just kind of lots of people that come to Giffords every year. I mean, I don't pay much attention unless they're kind of comedy people that I know, and then I get excited.
Yeah. And do you get nervous when these people come and see you, or is it just like business as usual?
I don't know if it's nervous, but you are kind of aware and kind of intrigued. I mean, Rowan Atkinson came a couple of times, so that's kind of I hope he finds it funny. Yeah. But then at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything anyway, you know.
Yeah.
You go out there and you do what you do, and they're either going to like it or they're not going to like it. It's nice if they do like it, but it's always weird meeting your heroes anyway, isn't it? 'Cause you don't really know what to say.
Yeah.
I think you're really great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're so good. Well, I get to meet my heroes quite a lot doing this Clownversation series, which is very cool. I wanted to ask you though, actually, just before we finish, Tweedy, because you've got a season of Giffords coming up this summer.
Yes.
Can you give us any sneak previews? What's going to be happening? What's the show about?
It is. Actually, I don't know if it is. Do they do flamenco dancing in Mexico? I don't know.
I don't know. I think they do Mexican dancing in Mexico.
That's what that was. Yeah, so it's set in Mexico in sort of the 1920s, around about the time of the Revolution.
Oh wow!
The set and costumes look amazing. Takis, who's a sort of theatre costume designer, set designer, he's designed it. Looks great. Cal's back directing. Lots of good acts. I'm not really sure what sort of narrative we're having yet. There's a Mexican girl, Adriana, I forget her last name, she says she's an actress, but Cal says she's a clown. Cal's worked with her in a theatre show in Mexico. And apparently I saw a little clip of her in Cal's show he showed me, and she's very kind of high status, so that would be fun to kind of play off, having a sort of scaly high status Mexican girl.
Yeah, totally.
And I've got Danny Rivolinos coming back. He played last year's show was an Irish themed show, sort of Celtic mythology. And Danny's sort of traditional clown family with this sort of the white face and the Auguste, Count Auguste, and he plays Count Auguste to his dad normally. But they joined the show last year. He was temp master, and he was playing this character, a goblin. So he's going to be doing some clowning alongside me as well, which it's great. I love all types of clowning and all types of clowns. You learn something from all of them, and there's something really nice about working with circus people that they've done it all their lives, and their parents have done it in the fifth generation and things like that. I love the history of it, so it's great to kind of have Danny on board as well. It should be a really fun.
That sounds amazing. I just love Giffords. It's a completely unique thing. It sort of blends circus with theatre, I would say, but with also this kind of like bohemian lifestyle kind of aesthetic, which is just so charming.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's a gift for a clown because it's a very intimate show. The way the secrets, things like that. You don't have people selling souvenirs whilst you're trying to do your act and things like that. Very focused, which a lot of circuses it's kind of difficult because there's so much other things going on.
And you're very close to you're always very close to the action if you're wherever you are sitting.
Yeah, so it's a great show for a clown.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And are people going to be wearing masks in the audience?
Way?
Are they going to be masked? Are they going to have to wear masks?
I don't think they are. I don't think so. I'm not. It changes so frequently.
Yeah. I was just imagining what it would be like to perform to a masked audience. You know, how that would affect.
Oh, we did. We did that last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get used to it. I mean, I did find it quite difficult last year because, you know, as I said, I get in among the audience, and I usually get people out the audience at some point. So suddenly to have that barrier there, you know, the audience to know that you can't come in among them, because that again, that's sort of, you know, you playing with the emotions, having that when you come forward and they know you're going to get someone out, and you get that tension.
That's beautiful.
You know, and then you get somebody out, and the rest of the audience go, ah, and then there's just this one person going, oh, no. So all that was kind of gone, and the masks, it was kind of difficult because you couldn't, you know, see if there's, you know, a lot of the time a laugh isn't laugh out loud, but you can see by the facial expression. But
you can't so much.
But hopefully the masks will disappear.
Well, I hope you have an amazing run this summer, and I hope to see it at some point. And have a great show this weekend in Oxford as well.
Yes, hooray!
Yeah, that'll be wonderful to get out again and be on the road. So thank you so much, Tweedy.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. I get to talk about clowning, and that's what I like to do. So
I know. I always feel in these conversations that I could go on for another several hours because there's so much to talk about. But it's been really fascinating, and I think a lot of really just kind of helpful concepts and insights for people at all different levels who are listening. So thank you. Really, really appreciate it. And so let's say goodbye to Tweedy, and I'm going to hang around just for a few minutes and do the big exciting competition draw. So bye, Tweedy.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching.